Hello again and welcome. 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 And the more that the old narrative devices, the TV, the radio, are phased out, you're going to see more opportunities for more unique information to be released. So, Trump and Elon Musk are fighting, and he's going to start a new political party. Well, the future is no political parties. You have to just worry about individual issues. And the Democrats and the Republicans, dude, it's a system that was created in 17 whatever. There's no parties. It's all fake and gay. And we need to completely revolutionize every form and facet of our life, from the monetary system to our governing systems. I mean, these people are supposed to fix the roads, not traffic children from, you know, Nicaragua or wherever the fuck, Haiti. But it's just the general public, people will tell you you're insane for thinking this. You can prove this 500 ways. Look at all these children going missing. Look at all these children missing on the border. 300,000 children missing on the border. Well, where are they all? Well, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. And then they'll switch to something else very quickly. And it's like, it's a boomer thing, but it's a general NPC people thing. The boomers need to realize that they don't know what the fuck is going on at all, and they need to step back and stop being so in everybody's face running things. And this is who the government is completely made up of, are these liberal Democrat boomer people and diversity hire people. And they'll do anything to keep their job because they all kind of know they don't really have any skills. They don't really know how anything works. They got a cushy job, State Department. They make $215,000 a year. They have 47 vacation days and paid holidays and sick time, and they know it's a cushy job. They'll lie to you and tell you that it's very demanding working at the State Department. When whatever you're doing, the oversight people will just make sure their agendas are pushed forward. Every single person serves Israel at the highest level. And the more on board you are with the we're serving Israel, the more and higher up you will be and the more money you will get because more and more money gets laundered to at the top. It's the government is made up of a lot of chiefs and no Indians. Okay, there's not a lot of working people doing their job fixing potholes. It's a lot of managers and stuff watching one guy work on the side of the road. And it's a metaphor that's over this time. One guy working, three guys monitoring, an inspector, a safety inspector, and there's 10 people watching one guy in a hole work. That's the government. And the guy in the hole working makes the lowest amount of money, and all the people on the top watching all make $185,000 a year. So, still no debt relief, no money, no refunds, no stimulus, no tariff bonuses, nothing. No money's coming in, which now they've said they're going to give you $600. And that money will not be coming to you probably until late October or November. So you can use that money at Christmas time to stimulate the economy and make sure it looks good on the balance sheets at the end of the year. And look at how much we're making and buying and the tariffs. And it's gay, it's fake and gay, everything is gay. But there is hope that maybe our wealth that was stolen from us by removing us from the gold standard, removing us from the silver standard, possibly all that wealth will be returned to us. But I don't know about that because, anything is possible. We could be going down two separate timelines And at some point, it's going to fork and split off into something new or two different things. It's kind of the theory from 5 or 10 years ago is that not everyone's going to make it to the other side of this great awakening. Some people, like in the Matrix, they say some people will never escape. They love the comfort of everything done for them. They can barely handle reality as it is, let alone adding all these other factors. I mean, if today some Star Trek civilization made contact with us and introduced us to 47 different alien races, and we want to open it up for trade with them. And now all of a sudden there's all these fucking weird aliens walking around and shit. People aren't going to be able to handle that at all. Which, I think it's better to just pull the band-aid off, let the chips fall where they may, and just see what happens. I mean, just do it. Hurry up, do it. What are we waiting for? You're stifling human creativity at the top to service the low vibrational creatures at the bottom who just eat and sleep and that's all they do. Like, some kind of caged zoo animal. And that's not where most of us want to be. We want to be high vibration at the top, creating things, constantly living life to its fullest. But we are not allowed to do that because we are stuck here in this general public NPC world where we are the extraterrestrials now. We are the aliens looking at these people still wearing their masks in the grocery store and driving around alone by themselves in the grocery store. Why are they doing this? I don't know. There's a theory that a lot of these lizard people or demonic entities or something have possessed these people, and the mask is a way of you avoiding them subconsciously, like, oh, that person must be sick, avoid them, and that way you're not looking into their eyes flickering and their tongues doing flippies and all this crazy shit they're doing. Which those are the people I look at in the grocery store, you know, at a distance. I had to go to Home Depot to get some stuff. And it's just sometimes if you have nothing else to do, go do your shopping and really just walk around. People listen. I'm gonna get a fucking hidden camera and I'm gonna go around and like do like a journalism investigation and just view these NPC people, follow them around, see if you can hear what they're talking about. I used to, when I'd go to the bar, I'd sit off at a far table and pretend like I'm reading a paper or something, and then just sit and listen to what everyone's talking about. And it's really fascinating. I could do a whole TV show about that. I could do so much stuff if I had the funding. And that's the whole point is if people like me got large amounts of funding, I would create so much content. Every day I'm thinking of stuff and it's like, oh, I'd love to get a camera and go and it's just like, fuck, I'm not gonna do that. What a waste of time. These videos don't go anywhere. So you can see they are having a problem with this Epstein stuff. And you've used all your other distractions to a point where ICE riots against ICE, that you did that and then it went away and now they're trying to slowly bring it back. The UFOs and UAPs, they tease it, they tease it, they tease it. No pictures come out, no evidence comes out, nothing. No technology comes out, and then they'll jump to something else. Weather disaster in Texas. And then, okay, people are so desensitized and used to the same programming over and over. They only have four different things they can program people to follow. And the sports isn't working like it used to. The weather disasters don't work like they used to. You have 5 weather events a year. How can we care about this one? You just had 3 other ones or a fire. there's other fires, and there's other weather events, and then, a celebrity death. Oh man, look at this celebrity death. These distractions last about 4 to 6 hours. And people go, "Yeah, there's a flood in Texas. Okay, move on. How are there so many floods all of a sudden? Flash floods during the summertime when it's not raining? Wow. And in order to answer these questions, you have to be able to go to the woo-woo kind of stuff too. Are they blowing up underground bunkers? Now, how it works is there's so many facets to these underground bunkers. They blow up one, flood it with ocean water or something, and then the water pressurizes in this underground cavern. Then they blow tunnels connecting them in the water. Pressured at high speeds and fills up this next bunker, which then overfloods and causes all this flooding. So this is a big part of this operation is flooding and but who the fuck knows? At this point, it could be there could be lots of things going on. But the main thing with the Epstein stuff is it will connect to lizard people and gray aliens and stuff. So why aren't they going to release this footage of all of this blackmail? Now they say they don't have any of the blackmail. Well, on the blackmail tape within their torture bunkers, these lizard people and gray alien demon people are just walking around like it's no big deal. They're not hiding their shape shifting and lizard people look. So when you have all this footage at Diddy's house, and a lot of these celebrities are shape shifting into demons while they're raping and drinking blood, that's the number one thing they're suppressing. Okay. It's not child sex. That's a part of it, yes. But on a whole, the secrets are much larger than just they're protecting pedophiles and Israel and Jews. Okay. The controllers, the masters, the lizard, demon, Satan people are the ones they are protecting. And it goes back to this Riata Treaty, this Project Serpo, this exchange program with these demons and all this stuff. That is what the big secret is. The debt relief is coming. The debt relief is coming. Don't worry. Your money's gonna. Well, no. Let's wait till after the midterms, and then there's gonna be action. It's just like fuck, people. Let's get this stuff going. What are we fucking doing here? It's just time is ticking by. Another summer gone. Another Christmas gone. Another birthday comes and goes, and they're just 6 months will go by, and now a new underground. There's a UFO that's been buried in Texas, and it's so big, it's so massive, and it's under the ground, and the military is figuring out. It recently became active, and the lights started flashing. Like in the Independence Day movie, where the lights and gadgets and gizmos start coming on, signaling to the armada that the aliens are coming and all this shit. It's just like, who fucking cares? Either the government is going to kill you with fucking vaccines, or the aliens are going to kill you with weapons or something. It's like, who fucking cares? If this is what life is, we're done. I'm done. I'm just about done with all this shit. Unless we can change gears and get to this next level, which it's not looking good. One day it seems like, yeah, all right, we're going to do it. And then the next day, it's nothing's ever going to happen. Just submit to the New World Order. And then, well, Trump's moving into D.C. That means we're going to do it. The arrests are coming. Martial law is going to start. Buckle up, patriots. The time is now. Trust the plan. Call Revere. One if I land, two lanterns if I see. Let's go. I mean, it's just so fucking, it just goes on and on and on without anything happening. That shows maybe they're just playing this out until I don't know. It just, you all know what I'm talking about. You can feel it and see it the same as I can see it. If you're watching these videos, you kind of get it. It's just like At what point can we get something moving? I don't know. And a lot of these people took the vaccine or they're in contact with people who took the vaccine. And the getting from the vaccine gets in everybody. And it's just, we're being depopulated and exterminated. Everybody. And it's just no one wants to accept that if Jews who are exterminating you, they don't want to be mean, so they just, why would the Jews stop exterminating you? You're too fucking dumb to call out what they did with these vaccines. And all the amount of people with health problems and all this stuff. I didn't get the vaccine. I didn't get any of the PCR testing. I didn't get shit. And I'm supposed to be mad that you took it and are dumb and are dying now. I'm sorry that you took it. You should be the one who's fucking super pissed. You killed your fucking people off. You're murdering people and committing genocide. There's been zero accountability. No one's been arrested. Dr. Fauci's still walking around, Bill Gates, all these people. And now giant 45% of the population is dying from some kind of myocarditis, super cancer, all these problems that clots and all this shit. And they just will not admit that these people tricked you. And the only people still talking about it are the people who didn't get vaccinated. It's like we should move on. If they don't give a fuck that they took it and are dying and sick, why the fuck do we care? I don't give a fuck that any of these retards eat shit. You know, it's a Jew jab plot shot. And they've been doing this with vaccines forever, and no one has caught on yet. It's just, I don't know. I think we all need to move on from the vaccines. If the people who took it want to get upset, then we'll support that. But it just makes us look bad. And we're trying to help these people who don't even give a fuck about helping themselves at all. They would not do anything to help themselves. They won't read a book. They won't watch a video. It's just sports, 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 sports. MTV movies, the next Fantastic Four. I mean, they just recycle the same shit over and over and over again. The next Batman movie, another Batman, another Spider-Man movie. Now we're gonna remake the X-Men movies, and we're gonna recast it because we want a black Wolverine and a black Professor X, and you're bringing back the X-Files show. The black guy and some fucking Puerto Rican woman or something. It's just like no one's gonna watch this. It's crap. And it's just they think they're being clever by race switching the main characters. And this time, the Dana Scully character is going to be a black man. He's a medical doctor, and the Mulder character is a Latino woman. You know, okay, we gotta find out what's going on with the cover-ups. And they're all gonna fucking hate Donald Trump and Trump, baby, you need to reopen the X Files, okay? Like seriously. It's just so fucking dumb. But it's just like, I don't know. If you didn't ever feel like a fucking extraterrestrial walking around here, I sure do. I don't I look at all these people in the grocery store and stuff and just I'll walk through the grocery store, just look at people and I'll go, do you think they know about Pizzagate? You think they know about Epstein Island? Do you think they know about the vaccines? There are still people wearing fucking masks, surgical masks. I saw two people, a couple in the store wearing masks. And it's just like, oh my God, like, what the fuck, people? It really is amazing. I feel like in the episodes of like Star Trek, when the people go back in time and they're just looking at and it's so bizarre. You walk around amongst the general public NPC people and understand how it's just that these people don't think. They've been programmed to not think. You accept what you're told from authority. You learn this in school. You never act up. You never question anything. And people follow direction, and they will follow directions until the very end. When are the aliens gonna fucking wipe the system out and clean it all out? It just really should make people think that there is a hostile race of aliens, the lizard people or whatever. They're running the show. They fucking hate us because we are unique and we have a soul and we can think, and they cannot. They have programs and computers and AI that do their thinking for them, giving them some dark, evil plan that they give to their foolish minions in the government to carry out. Very disgusting and horrible. The state we're in as people in this system. And the only options you have are to basically be a homeless person or to work 2 and 3 jobs so you can barely afford a roof over your head. Disgusting. There's no way out. And Trump's not helping us. I get the across the planet, I get all that. I know all about it. But at some point, you have to acknowledge that, dude, what if you're getting lied to? What if Trump is a shape-shifting lizard person trying to fucking trick you into giving away your sovereignty? And, we're going to give you $1 million in biometric data coupons that you can live off of and, join the Matrix. You'll have a lot of fun in the Matrix or something. They really want you people, general people, to agree with this and to enter their matrix and give them full control. Where then they're going to kill you. That's what the biometric data is cataloging your DNA to use it for the next COVID pandemic or whatever. And the real pandemic is going to kill off basically everyone who didn't get the first vaccine. And the vaccines, if you're already getting them, they will protect you. You have to keep getting them every 3 to 6 months because it's like a computer program. You have to update the software in order to protect you from the virus. And this is why the people who do have the vaccines have to keep getting them forever and ever and ever. And it doesn't matter how many young people in their 30s are dying in record numbers. It doesn't matter how many heart attacks and cancer and all the stuff these people are getting. If you kind of have an ear to the NPC crowd, they're all getting major health problems. They're all dying. They're all getting heart attacks, and they just don't know what it is. They have no idea what it is. And they've got psoriasis, and they've got new allergies, and they've got new diseases, and Bliss is going to help them get rid of their the fucking commercials for all of these fucking prescriptions and pills and may cause side effects of rectal bleeding and internal bleeding, and it causes your gums to bleed, and it causes suicidal thoughts, and it causes diarrhea, and it causes all this stuff. you know it causes 10 side effects, and I guarantee you're going to get one of them. And then you're going to have to take another prescription to deal with those side effects. And then that side effect causes you. And before you know it, you're on 5 or 6 pills. But don't worry, your company's insurance will pay for your medication. So don't quit that job or you're going to lose your insurance. And then you won't have, the insurance to cover your Epilus or your fucking Prozac or your Xanax or your fat people injections, Ozempic. You won't be able to afford your Ozempic anymore. And it's just, the people just never seem to catch on because this has been going on since the 70s. And they just blindly go, yeah, whatever, no problem. Now, since we've last talked on the Modern American Gangster 4th of July special, all of this Epstein stuff has now been written off and stopped looking at. Now, we kind of called this when we did the Epstein files phase 1, and now we're getting to phase two of the Epstein files, which is you have to deny it and pretend it does not exist, or it is going to affect our number one ally, which is Israel. So people need to understand that the government is not going to arrest the government for doing the stuff that the government was set up to do. Okay, ever since this 1871 corporation or whatever, this is what the government does. It lies, it blackmails, it murders, it does all of the stuff that is against the ideas of what America is. And there's not really anything we could do until the people demand that this system ends. And we are getting closer to that. So the arguments against arresting all of these Epstein people is the markets are going to crash, all the governments in the world and NATO and our good friends Israel, they're all going to collapse if this Epstein stuff comes out. And the people who are making $250,000 a year working for the government will tell you, absolutely not. We can't do this Epstein arrests because the government would collapse and all these fucking people who that's where they get their money is from this corrupt government, getting payoffs, making all this money. With normal people, if the government's gone, we don't have to pay taxes anymore, and we don't have to fight in these Jewish foreign wars, and we don't have to deal with any of their crap. I mean, no one's going to be enforcing the hate speech laws and Second Amendment laws and all these laws if the government's gone. So the government has become so tyrannical and evil and against the people, against the freedom of people. And this is why they need the government in places to control the people so that they can stay in power and launder your money. Now, these are the same people who have stolen over a third of your life. A third of your life. If you live to be 90, 30 years of your life go to servicing this government that is controlling you through your tax dollars, through your whatever it is, your energy. They're stealing your life energy away. And this is the same government that we can't shut down because it's the people that just have too much power and control of their own lives. If we got rid of the Jewish Federal Reserve System and their fake money and their fake science and release these cures for all these diseases that they cause to make you sick in order to control you. Okay, they're hiding the technology in order to control you. If everyone had free power and you could move anywhere you want and have unlimited power and internet and all this stuff, people would do that and you then could not control them. This is why they have to, they're holding on to the final bits of control in the final hours of their reign. But it's over. The people are waking up. The people understand now that they couldn't do this Pizzagate arrest back in 2016. Today, more likely they could, because everybody's understanding how it connects to Israel. And people ask the questions, why are we protecting Israel so much? If they're God's chosen people, isn't God protecting them more than everyone else? Why do we have to protect these horrible people who are bombing and killing civilians and want to start a war with everyone to get their Zionist New World Order agenda? And It's like you have to go into the concentration camp and be murdered and killed because you don't want to be anti-Semitic, and there are too many of you white people, so we have to exterminate you. So if the government just tells all these NPC people to just report to the concentration camp for orderly disposal, they're just going to go for Israel because they don't want to be mean. This is why this awakening is happening. But when general public people, when they get fed up with it, that's when this massive, globally, realm-wide change takes effect. Because in order to arrest these Epstein people, every form of our reality has to change. Okay, the same Epstein type people, the secret society people, the Illuminati people, the Freemason people, the Zionist Jewish people, they're all the keepers of these secrets. They don't want you to know what's in the Grand Canyon, and they don't want you to know what happened this moon landing. They don't want you to know about these underground cities, this post reset world we live in, where all this information and all these clues have been left behind for people to pick up and re-establish our timeline, re-establish what happened when this great reset took place in the 1800s or 1700s time period. Whenever this massive blood flood event took place, and when all these cities were abandoned, that's when these parasite people crawled out of their underground nest or whatever and began to subvert our reality and create a new version of our reality, which when you do not question it, it's fine. But when you start having questions, you realize it's all fabricated. It's not real at all. Nothing these people do or nothing these people tell you is factual. It's not real. It's a complete fabrication and they just made it up. All right, next. I am still working on this documentary, What Really Happened. Now, it started out this, and now it's like this, and then I got a whole nother part to do. So, as of right now, it's 562 slides. Okay, so that's like 562 images and each one has to be explained. So it's way too big to just make and release. So what I'm probably going to do is right now it's in 5 or 6 parts. I'm probably going to record it all, create one big documentary, and then release it onto Patreon. Or if you want to watch it, it's on Patreon. You could pay the $10 a month and check it out. There's lots of stuff on Patreon. Please go check it out. Then I will break the individual parts down and maybe release them onto Rumble and YouTube and BitChute and all these other platforms. Now that's another thing is I recently started putting all my videos back on YouTube. And I put the Deep Underground Military Base video on there, the Black Goo video, the human cloning video. I've been putting my news and current events videos up there, and nothing has been taken down or flagged. So that is very interesting. That before anything I put up gets flagged and violates their terms of service. Where now I haven't had a violation in 6 months. Very interesting. So this new documentary, I'm almost done with it. I keep finding more and more stuff to add, but it is massive. Like 560 slides, which probably by the time I get done, it'll be closer to 600. And that will get us from like 1865 to 1925. And then the sequel to this new one I'm doing will be 1925 to 2025. And that will be the largest cohesive theory, the biggest amount of research compiled explaining all of this. And then I will have a print version that you can buy, and all of this information will be in there. And that's going to be my final piece of work I'm adding to this. And then it's out there. I've done my work. I'm going to probably step away from all this and do something else because this is really fucking stressful putting all this together. I'll wake up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'll have my coffee. I'll open my laptop. I'll start working on this and adding pictures. And then before I know it, it's 7:30. It's just like the day nap by so quick. And it's just, I've been working on this documentary for 2 fucking months. By the time I get it done, it'll be 3 months. And I get no ad money. I get nothing for doing this. I've been doing the same thing for like 20 fucking years now. And it never goes anywhere. It just, I've come to the realization that this is for the future because in 10 years, people are going to be more accepting of this information, and that's when it takes off. The same with all of my music. When I recorded it and put it out, it went nowhere. And now some of my songs, it's like 200,000 plays. So 200,000 plays 15 years from now might add up and might go somewhere. But then I'll be like 65 or something in 15 years. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around doing with it shit, but it's out there. I wrote a book. It contains all this information. It will prove all of this stuff. And if it doesn't, you can't prove it because they've hidden so much. But it's a big enough argument that it goes against their arguments. And it's enough plausible actuality that you have to understand that they're lying about everything. And we have proven this to a point where you have to say, I don't know, maybe they did make up all of our history. Maybe AI is in control. Maybe this black goo stuff is real. Maybe all this stuff is really going on. And maybe our civilization was built on top of an ancient civilization that is not thousands of years old. It's a few hundred years old. And that's the kind of shit that they do not want you to look into or understand is how close we were to this Tartary and Tartaria and this millennial reign of Christ and how Satan is released on for this final judgment of God's people because evil has not been destroyed. It is more awake and aware than ever, giving everyone the opportunity to choose which path they want to go down. And you can see these people who are into trans and all this shit they're into. They care more about immigrants from another country than they do homeless people and drug addicts in this country. They never seem to get upset on a Tuesday that there's so many homeless drug addicts around and the black people are committing so much fucking crime. Don't want to be racist, don't want to be mean. But when Trump says so, oh, they're going to get out and protest. And it's just like, dude, we see how fucking obvious your grift is. Pretending like you care so much about these illegal immigrants. Now, Trump and Putin met in Alaska, and the QAnon people were all, boy, they couldn't help themselves by being so right about trusting the plan. Look at the timestamps. Look at the QAnon codes. Look, QAnon said this 12 years ago. They were going to get together at 11:11 timestamp marker, and just because the QAnon said X, Y, and Z 9 years ago or wherever the fuck it was, how does that help us at all? That could be the deep state communicating. It has nothing to do with us, the people. They never their timestamps are for their agendas. So even if the QAnon people are using Project Looking Glass to determine future events before they happen, it doesn't matter if the events they're trying to steer towards are the birth of the New World Order. And if you want to get the full New World Order, you have to first extinguish hope. So let's have this big campaign to tell everyone the arrests are coming and they're going to lock up all the pedophiles and the elites and the monarchies and all this stuff. When nothing ever happens, you destroy the spirit of the people by keeping this charade going for 12 years or 10 years or however long this has been going on, like 9 years. But it's just the same old, again and again and again. And no one ever gets arrested. And they'll tell you law and order takes time. We've got to do it the right way through the military and blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. If it's a failed, bankrupt corporation, why are you still adhering to the laws? Arbitrary laws created by a false corporate entity impose on to the people, and you got to still follow the rules of this bankrupt corporate entity in order to defeat it, even though it's bankrupt and no longer viable. So it's all just a fucking smoke and mirrors bullshit. Because if it was the Republic, every single law created after 1871 to be void, and you wouldn't have to adhere to any of these arbitrary laws. So the QAnon people, it's just a fucking bullshit thing if you understand all this stuff. And they'll tell you it's a bankrupt corporation. And then you'll say, why are they following the laws written by this foreign bankrupt entity? A corrupt foreign occupied government, foreign controlled by the illegitimate dry dock vessel of Washington, D.C. Why are we listening to or following any of their directions? And that's where the QAnon people kind of run out of answers. They don't know. They have no idea what is really going on. And a lot of them don't really understand concepts of everything has been fake, the history is fake, the historical record is fake, all this stuff is fake. Excuse me. And it just goes in a circle. And no one ever, no one really cares. It just seems like they want to be right more than they want this to end. And there's still no Doge checks, no arrest, not one arrest has been made. And these fucking Q people will tell you John Bolton was house was searched. Do you think he really is going to keep any evidence in his house? And if he does, it's a fucking stupid psyop. It's a stupid fake thing to get everyone to look over here and not at Israel bombing hospitals. Fake alien invasion Project Bluebeam thing. And then it will be a 4-year war with the aliens. Much like possibly what happened in the 1870 time period. War of the Worlds and the Civil War and all this stuff. If it was a war against aliens and the government covered it up, there would be no evidence, but something has came in and slowly steered and subverted our reality into another direction. And nobody questions it, and you wouldn't think the government would cover it up, but the government covers up everything. If they covered up Roswell, they'll cover up Chicago being completely destroyed by giant robots with laser beams, or flying Zeppelin machines with laser beams and super advanced high technology, like from Star Wars type technology. And it's gonna seem so overwhelming when it happens, but you watch when the aliens come and start blowing up cities. Which cities they're blowing up? They're not going to blow up any smart cities. They're going to blow up the remaining old world cities in order to put the final cover up and the final great reset for the 2045 event. So I would imagine from 2030, all the people are going to be fully depopulated. All of the major cities are going to be hit, nuked, and bombed out, and all this stuff. Where you're going to be in a apocalypse type situation for 10 years, 10 to 15 years, where you get to 2045 and they start to repopulate the population with clones from the DNA they collected from the nasal swab tests and all this stuff. And they can fully repopulate, they can change the history, they can make it whatever year they want to make it. It could be 1700 again, it could be 2050, it could be 1850. Okay. And when you program a million NPC people to all say the exact same things, like in the Island movie. They all say the exact same thing. And if you're a person who questions it, they remove you, they'll put you in one of their mental institutions, they'll MK Ultra you, they'll reprogram your subconscious and get you back into the world as an NPC person. To wrap up, they're gonna keep going with this. It's gonna be slow, but unless people can understand that everything in reality has to change, don't hold your breath. Anything's coming. But when it gets to the breaking point, that's when the arrests come. That's when the economy crashes. That's when the solar blackout occurs and the solar flare. And it's all going to be the same week. But history has to report that something so massive occurred, like 9/11. The world stopped on 9/11. This is going to be the world stops, and it's going to be so dark. Do we even want the world to come back? That type of dark. You let these lizard demons run your government and your world, and they're killing children and drinking blood and stuff. And there's clown entities and giants like this Kandahar giant. It's all connected. Now I got a new documentary I'm working on. I keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. But when you put all this information together and look at it as one giant cohesive story laid out with slides and info, it is pretty overwhelming. And you can come to the conclusion that they're not telling you anything truthful. They're telling you what you want to hear in order to control you. And this is why the next phase moving forward, you have to start unhooking from Israel government, understanding that the government's not really there to help you, they're controlling you. And they control your politicians, and they control your CPS, and everything is a part of everything else, from the vaccines to the food to the technology, the oil and gas, and all of this stuff is connected, and they already have the new system ready to go. The quantum financial system, the unleash of the free energy technology, the opening up of the underground bunkers and transit systems under there, the paying off everybody's debt, opening up the world to the good versions of AI. Because the evil AI, which is this black goo Satan stuff, is what's controlling everything now. But if you created a new AI based off of biblical principles and Jesus Christ, this could help free humanity and take us to this next level. Okay? I hope this kind of helps people understand what's going on. Know that this Epstein stuff is, we're just moving from phase one to phase two. And the start of phase two is don't talk about it. We've moved on, case closed. Now, someone or something or some government is going to make a big release, whether that's Julian Assange or Russia or whoever. Iran is going to release all this information. It's going to come out, and that's going to trigger the beginning of The stock market collapsing, the economy collapsing, all of everything you know collapsing, and then they warned you if we release this and arrest these people, the government and all the stuff's going to collapse. Well, if it's already collapsing and gone, why aren't you going to arrest these people? And they'll be forced to take action, which a lot of people think all of these arrests have taken place years ago. But they'll play it up like it's happening right now, and they're doing all these arrests, and, you know, this will go into if the government's gone, who are you going to pay your taxes to? Who are you going to pay your car registration to and all this stuff if the government's not there? And you'll see things reorganized so quickly. Within 10 days, things will be so revolutionized. It will really make way for this new age, golden age that's upon us. And it's either golden age, true freedom, free technology, free everything, or a mass extermination reset event where all the people are killed off and they repopulate with their preferred clone people, which we've seen happen in the past, but we'll see it again if things don't change. And I'm optimistic. I think things will turn around eventually. It's just people aren't understanding the void within the general public people and how they just don't care. They don't have the IQ to process all this information. So it has to be done slowly. They've been talking about UFOs and aliens for fucking 75 fucking years. They've never shown you anything officially. They've never went and shown you this is a crash disk that crashed in Roswell. They've never shown you a fucking thing. Now they have bodies, they have all this stuff, but the reason they do not show you is because you'd figure out very quickly they're all lizard demon creatures. And it's a biblical thing, and we're serving these entities because our technology isn't that great. But it's all a deception within a deception. There's no technology or anything that is more powerful than God and Jesus Christ. And these biblical events like the mud flood and the buildings and all this stuff kind of prove that, which then you figure out why aren't you doing this? Well, because these satanic Jew people all run everything. And if you got real Christian people in there, not these Judeo-Christian people, things would change very quickly. Now, working on a new documentary. I've been working on it now for like a month and a half. Just I get ready to record it, I get it all done, and then I think of something else I should add to it. Because eventually it's going to turn into a big of what really happened. When anyone tries to tell you, well, the official NPC general public version of our history is X, Y, and Z, you can open this book and you'll be able to debunk all of their claims with pictures and evidence very quickly. That's why this information is so important, why they fear this information so much, because they know they are lying. They know their black goo artificial intelligence rewrote the historical record and created all these fabrications to explain our world so that you do not question anything and you work, 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 work. And the second you stop working, and you start to look into this stuff, it's very obvious they're lying. And the people who will ridicule you and say, oh, here we go, another conspiracy person, they've not looked at any of the evidence. Because even if you didn't believe our claims or the claims that I'm making, it should at least make you question their version of reality when there's so many contradictions that they don't even want to address. Like the mud flood, like Tartaria, like this corporate interest, corporate entity of the United States, the birth certificate stuff. It's the bank account. Your birth certificate is a certificate of manifest, and all these things should make anyone who actually can think question things and have multiple questions that never will be answered. They'll tell you to stop talking, they'll delete you. They do not want to answer any of your questions or any of the information that you can provide to them could make a normal person question things. So this new documentary, what really happened, going to be really big. Now, the bigger I think something's going to be, the less people watch it and view it. It puts all the pieces together, and I would love. See, this is the problem with all of my work. Everyone will tell you, yeah, yeah, whatever. You're just a conspiracy person, but not a lot of debunking any of this information. Whether it's the Black Goo documentary or the human cloning, there's not a lot of people who can debunk your claims or the claims we're making about the Neuro Aero Club and the National Zionism. Nazis were National Zionists. And what was really going on with this Operation Paperclip and the Roswell crash and Operation High Jump, what Israel is all about. All these things that we've been talking about for years now, no one seems to debunk them, and they don't want to watch it or look at it because it will force them to have to make a stand within their own consciousness. Questioning things forces you to live in a different reality. And if you start to question the reality provided to you by them, then everything falls apart very quickly. And this is why when you see people who are conspiracy theory people, they really just stay in their lane, whatever conspiracy theories they're into. If it's the JFK assassination, they only will look at the JFK assassination. If they're 9/11 people, they only look into 9/11. If they're chemtrail people, they only look into chemtrails. Nobody steps back to get the wider view of what is going on and how conspiracy theories, JFK, if they all link together, it would have to make you question reality. And they all do fit together because they're perpetrated by the same groups. The big thing is people don't know why they're doing this. But when you understand how big this false reality we live in truly is, it makes a lot more sense that everything has to go together into one cohesive theory, which explains everything, the other version of our reality. And that's what we have been studying, researching, piling all this data and information together in order to get people to understand how everything goes together, forming a new version of our reality. And that is a very important thing. It is a powerful weapon against anyone trying to force vaccines on you, carbon tax, carbon credits, all this stuff that they're forcing on you. Smart cities, smart technology. When you figure all this out, their game very quickly falls apart because all the conspiracy claims could be debunked very easily if it were factual and the story happened the way it happened. And they can't debunk anything. They can't understand why the dinosaur bones that are 100 million years old are buried here and the buildings are buried down here. How does that happen? Well, we designed I mean, it doesn't make any sense when you start getting into it. And people, you either look at this information, you accept this information, and you move forward, or you don't look at this information and you just move forward and do whatever they tell you. So it's very interesting. This documentary is coming out. I'm getting close to recording it. I'm super, super busy with all these projects I'm working on. I mean, it's already August, and the summer is more than half over. And it's just like I was just prepping my garden. Seems like 2 weeks ago, and it's already coming through. It's very time is moving so fast. There's not a lot of time you can grab from because you're grasping at straws to get all this shit done by the end of the day. I don't know how people who work regular jobs even survive. There's like no time to get your laundry done, get all this stuff done. Time just moves so fast. Now, other information I wanted to touch on is my Patreon. I've got tons of stuff on Patreon if you're interested. Go over and subscribe on Patreon. I just put all of my music catalog on Patreon for the paid members, or you can buy the online digital album for $10. And it's got all my songs, like 24 songs. Now, they're not all great, but out of 24, 18 of these songs are like, they really hit the nail on the head. I was talking about all this stuff back in 2010 and 2012. I was making all this music, exposing all this stuff. My music on n1m.com, it's like a music site, just hit 200,000 plays. So whether they're bots, I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like I can't get enough wind under my wings to take flight. It's always just like a chicken trying to fly or something. It's just, I can't get off the ground with any of this information. So on my Patreon, all my music is up there. And if you can, give it a listen because I think it's really gritty and raw. It answers all the questions. And it's just, it is like an amazing thing to listen and go, man, I made all these songs 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they still are current and relevant today. It's really amazing when you listen to it, and I just go, wow, can't believe it. So if you want, check out the Modern American Gangster music on Patreon. I've also added more gaming clips. I don't know how many people are into gaming, but I added a couple tutorial videos to get people to understand the kind of games I play. There is a new news and current events best of clips volume 4 on Patreon. I'll probably release that to Rumble next week or something sometime. Um, I got a lot of new things coming. I've got a lot of fun, funny ideas of skits and stuff to do coming up. Mr. Saccavello content is going to come back, but I've been so busy for the last 2 weeks trying to compile all this information, researching World War One, researching the 20s and the 1870s, and just re-going over the information and compiling it, getting the best versions together, create this new documentary I'm working on. So please go over to Patreon, subscribe at tier 1. I think you're going to be impressed and you're not going to be let down. It's got a lot of the audio version, so like the volume 4 best of news and current events, there's like an audio version you can download. It's like 3 hours long. But I was listening to it at the store this morning, and it's like, wow, yeah, I like everything that this guy is saying. This is the kind of stuff that I want to say. And it's just a really amazing, cool thing to check out. Now, if people turn in 100,000 guns, you know there's still 250,000 guns out there. You'd have to be a fucking idiot to turn in your guns to these people who want to vaccinate you and, you know, force you into this area where when the time comes and if they go door to door, that's civil war. I mean, we're getting so close. I don't know if anyone ever seen it, but there is a fucking killer show from AMC called Turn, Washington Spies. And, you know, whether you believe the past happened the way it did and our historical record is accurate. It's a cool show. And it's basically this premise of the show is it's the George Washington's elite spy ring that secretly was behind the winning of the war through information, informational warfare, and things like that. But when the show starts, this guy's a cabbage farmer and he's farming, and the British are occupying his town. And within every town, you have to like order a British troop. So there's British troops in the homes everywhere, and it's really like a glimpse into the future. If you can understand that the future is the past repeating, if you don't know what's going on, it really was a good show. Uh, I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. You watch it and you'll just be drawn in. It's so good. So many shows used to be good, and now they're. I started watching again. This was going to be about TV shows, but I started watching this show called Colony, and it is fucking crazy. I watched it when it came out. It must have been almost 10 years ago now. Uh, it is fucking crazy. It's about like these aliens come over and invade Earth and set up these. I don't want to ruin it. It is so out there, but it is fucking really good. And it's a great show. I started rewatching it again, and it's just like you turn it on and just you have to watch the whole thing. It's so crazy. If you question Israel or the vaccines, if your account gets flagged, it goes into a special folder and no one will interact with you or see your posts. I'm on Twitter. I got a blue check mark and I get zero interactions on any of my posts. The only kind of the only time I get really big reactions is when you comment on someone else's post. And then your post will get a lot of interactions. But just posting stuff, nothing. It doesn't go anywhere. My Instagram, I'll post stuff. It doesn't go anywhere. I'll post clips on Rumble, Modern American Gangster Clips, and nothing ever seems to go anywhere. And it's just like, that's their game, is silence you to the point where it's just a waste of your time to continuously try and operate within the boundaries of this matrix system. And how are you ever going to get over this? This is the whole Nisara QAnon bullshit where there's going to be a Q phones and the QAnon internet, free internet, wireless, and they're going to get rid of the shadow banning, and it's actually going to be based on freedom of speech and blah 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 blah. I don't think so. They're going to give all of this fancy new technology to the people who have nothing to say in the first place. So there's no possible way your average NPC football, baseball, basketball watcher will ever say anything controversial because they just don't think. They're a programmed person. Just like in the movie The Island. Now, the point of The Island is, and I'm talking with people about this, and it's like, do the clones have feelings? Do the NPC people have feelings? And I would think base level, yes, but I don't think these people would ever even begin to question reality. And that's the kind of whole point of the Island movie is the Lincoln Six Echo, Ewan McGregor character starts asking questions. And he's like the conspiracy theorist of the island. And then he goes into the next sector and is talking with the Steve Buscemi character and drinking whiskey and asking more questions, where then, he figures out that the island is fake and they escape and, that's the rest of the movie plays out. But it's really an interesting metaphor for our reality. is the only way you're going to get out of this matrix is by asking questions. And the people who are involved never ask any questions. They're told to get a vaccine, they get one. They're told to watch the game and they watch it. They're told that they should care about Taylor Swift and they do. And it doesn't matter what's going on in your own life because the lives of these celebrities are so much better than your life. And the scripted reality is so much more comforting when you know that Taylor Swift has been through a lot. And I think he's finally found true love with this arranged Illuminati marriage. And that's going to be great. And who's going to sing at the Super Bowl? Taylor Swift. And her man is the Chiefs or the whoever the fuck team the guy plays for. They're going to be in the playoff. Of course, you're married to Taylor Swift now. Your team's going to the playoffs for sure. It's all scripted. You know, the confidence he has now that he's with Taylor. They're going to win for sure. And his teammates all really listen to Taylor Swift's music in the locker room. And it's just a fucking kumbaya experience whenever Taylor Swift is involved. She motivates the team to really activate the magnets in the gloves. And they can catch all those balls more and more. It's some fucking bullshit. And it's just like, I do think people are seeing it, but it seems like they see it and then they kind of forget that they saw it or something. I don't know. It's really, really dystopian how void the consciousness is of these people. I've been watching the new Dexter show. It's pretty good. Dexter Resurrection. I've been digging that. That was actually a pretty good show. The Dexter show in general is really good. It kind of fell off if you watch the original at the end, but the prequel show they came back with, Original Sin, was pretty good. And I'm digging that. Because we need more people out killing pedophiles and murderers and stuff because the government seems to be working with these people and helping them. And that's going to be the end of the final conception is you're going to learn the government is there to keep you in line if you're a white person who pays their taxes. That's who they want to keep you in control. If you're outside of that, they're not going to do anything. Yeah, they're not solving any murders. They're not worried about Pizzagate murders and all these 800,000 children going missing. They're covering that shit up. So when you turn away from 800,000 kids every year being murdered and harvested for adrenochrome and all this shit, what's the government doing? They're not doing that because, their number one ally is Israel and they need the blood for their rituals. They need the blood for their gods. It's the same as the fucking Aztec worshiping the feathered bird serpents and all this shit and cutting out 50,000 hearts a day, on their pyramids and throwing their heads down the stairs. This is the same kind of Epstein Pizzagate shit we're dealing with. And the government is complicit. The government that we have might as well be the Aztec government of 1500 whatever. And people do not want to admit any of this is true. When it's so obvious that every single remake they make is just black people, black women, minorities, people of color, diversity. Look how diverse everything is. And you see a white guy and he's a faggot. Every white guy on TV is a faggot. You know, you watch the commercials, the man is doing the laundry and mopping the floor, and the woman is, he's going to clean the gutters out. He's going to mow the grass, and you're busy in the house doing ironing, and it's just like, what the fuck, people? You like this bizarro civilization where everyone is above you? This country was built by the inspiration and creativity of the whites. And now they're just hey, we don't need you anymore, white people. We're going to reimagine the thing that you created and just gender swap and race swap the characters. And then we're going to pat ourselves on the back and take a vacation. The Nick Fuentes situation is heating up about Nick Fuentes, and he's a Fed, and Candace Owens, and Tucker, and Milo Yiannopoulos, and all these people are he's a Fed, and he's a Fed. They're all Feds. Okay, they're all controlled opposition. And when we say Fed, we don't mean federal informant for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. No, this is way deeper when you understand secret military, the grasp Israel has on people, who Israel is working with, who they work for, the connections to the lizard people and the Vril and National Zionism, and how all this stuff comes together. They are all in on it. And these controllers really want you to fucking hate Jews. It's strategically done for a reason. Because if these people who are doing all this evil stuff can just blame Jews and then you don't address the actual problem, they can then go to somewhere else and possess new people and start this all over again. So the evil is this satanic black goo negative energy stuff. On a whole, this is the enemy of humanity. And it becomes very obvious this is going on. And these people, it's the same thing. The Jews worship Satan. So you're going to get the Jews and get rid of them. But it's the Satan that is the problem, not the people worshiping Satan. Okay, they are a problem too. But on average, if the Jews were all gone, Satan would remain, and he would just go find a new cult to start, a Jehovah's Witnesses or a Scientology or whatever the fuck it is. That's the game here. And they're all very much trying to get you to be angry at the Jews, who they are a problem, but it's more who they are working for and who they serve is the problem. And they'll never tell you this. Nick Fuentes is never going to tell you about flat earth. It's just Jews, 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 Jews. Where behind that is the real problem, and they're not addressing that. Nick Fuentes, although the other day he was on Sam Hyde and they were talking about Pizzagate, how all of this is real, how all of these people are pedophiles and pedivores and cannibals and all this shit. The next step is lizard people. What's going on in these underground bunkers? How deep are these bunkers? Why is there no pictures of these underground bunkers? What is going on with these maglev trains? All this information that continues to be brought up, and they'll say, yeah, deep underground bases. And then that's it. There's no pictures. Supposedly, it's like old world, decadent beauty, marble, granite, like so much more impressive in these underground levels than it is on the surface. And that's why they don't want you to see that. Because you would think if you were just building a bunker for some futuristic nuclear war or something, why did you make everything so fancy and elaborate and marble and all this stuff? Well, because all this shit existed way before the civilization was reset and re-going. So as this Pizzagate's this Epstein stuff is going to lead directly to aliens and UFOs, because that's where this goes. Now, if you're aware of this Guyana Treaty, if you're aware of Project Serpo, if you're aware of how our government makes all these deals with these aliens in order for exchanging technology for human beings, this is all going to make a little bit more sense, because everything connects when you understand the stories they're telling you. And what really is going on in World War II, where we win the war, but then every facet of our government is turned over to these Operation Paperclip Nazi people. And it's not for space rockets, it's for subversion and control of the population, the building sex trafficking networks, building these underground bunkers, and harvesting people as a resource. The resource of blood and transition metals within the blood, and the chemical compounds created from torturing people, doing different types of things to them, and they harvest this blood and eat it and drink it. They torture children, they eat them. This isn't just Jewish rabbis doing this and eating and using blood. They use the blood and they do all of these things, but there's not enough rabbis to justify 8 million kids every year. So you're going to get into the next step of the David Icke was right, it's lizard people. Okay, there are no aliens from outer space. And the more people understand these concepts, the further you will be to understanding what is going on, why this has to be done so gradually. And you can't just make all these arrests, execute all these people, free everybody from their debt, give everybody $10 million, and they never have to learn the hard truths of what really happened. Okay. Everybody needs to understand the level of evil we are dealing with and how this is a biblical war that we are in against the demonic, satanic, evil synagogue of Satan people doing the absolute most evil things ever. Because if you can harm Christians in the long run, that's worth it. And they all believe the same kind of stuff with their books and their version of reality. And the more people figure this out, the more you're not going to be able to control them. But one of the big things is just because they tell you these Jews are so holy and stuff, well, actions speak louder than words. And you can't tell people that you're chosen by God and you're so special, and then your actions and behavior is the most evil, entitled behavior that we've ever seen, the most satanic, evil shit ever. And that is what they brag openly about. And they're proud of it. And they're proud that they're these colonizers. And, you know, you think back to the colonies in New York and, the 13 colonies and all this stuff. How much of that story is accurate and how much of that story is fabrication? Because we're starting to understand that all these buildings and all this stuff were there before. Now, the words they use, colonies, colonizers, ants and insects and shit have colonies. It's an infestation of insect-like parasites on humanity. And when the colony gets big, then it multiplies out. And it's just, these people are a parasitic, evil, insect-like reptilian creature, these real aliens that are in everybody's eyes and all this stuff. So very it's a very delicate thing to move into because of the vast amount of information that needs to be accumulated and acquired over many, many years of research to understand what is going on. Just had another school shooter, which was a complete fucking bullshit false flag. The same kind of witchcraft writing fucking gay trans messages on the magazines. And, this guy hated the Jews, and 6 million Jews wasn't enough. So what does he do? He goes and shoots up a Christian school. Huh? I thought you didn't like Jews. Now, oh well, he doesn't like any people because it's just everything is stupid and fake and gay, and there's nothing we can do about it. Turn off your TVs and quit. But then, like, what are you gonna do? I have such bad ADD. I can't sit and read a book. Okay, I have to like watch a TV show a movie, and then I can read a book if I have the TV and the movie going at the same time. So it's like I can concentrate on the TV and the movie, and then I can read a book, and it can kind of quiet my mind down to the point where I can focus on reading. And it's just stressful. So I'm not going to do that. And what else? I'm trying to think. I don't have my notes with me, but that's okay. There's been no more arrests. There's no money coming. They keep telling people there's going to be a dividend, and which, if you get the game, they're going to release these stimuluses way close to Christmas so that you can, stimulate the economy during Christmas time. And that's a little, the Trump people. We're going to give you $600 to help your family out at Christmas. Meanwhile, they're giving all these immigrants and black people and all this stuff thousands of dollars in EBT, which they just sell. They're giving all these people free housing, free health care, free phones, free. And it's just now Trump's going to allow 600,000 Chinese student visas to be allowed in the US. Because if they don't, the college school system will crumble if you eliminate 600,000 student visas from China, just China. Who knows how many other student visas they have? So ask this question. If there's 600,000 student visas in our America, how much housing is that? 600,000 rental properties or dorm rooms or wherever these people are staying. So that's 600,000 houses or dwellings or whatever you want to call it that you're not giving to homeless people. So how much extra everything did these 600,000 people consume? And this is why it cost $250,000 to go to school for, 4 years or something. $65,000 a semester. It's insane. And it's like this is the whole new world order. If you're a white American Christian person, you're done. You have no voice. No one is speaking for you. If you're one of these other people, they are the ones who get all the aid. And Trump is doing not one fucking thing for white America. And it sounds bad, because they programmed you to make it sound bad. But if you're a Latino American, an Asian American, an African American, there are limitless programs for you to be a first-time home buyer and be a college graduate and have all these opportunities when you're just a regular white person from a middle class, background. There's nothing for you. And it is very obvious this is the game plan. They fucking hate you more than any other people on the planet. The Zionist occupied government fucking hates white people of, ethno-Christian background because of this Tartaria stuff. That's where all of this comes from and stems from is this. The aliens always come from galaxies. They don't come from a landmass 1,000 miles that way or something over the ice wall. And that's how you know it's a Jewish satanic conception. Because when the Nazi Party had their factions break apart, where the Nazi National Zionist people all got away and converted themselves into NATO and the United States. The other Germans broke away from that. The German nationalist people wanted Germany for Germany and all that stuff. They are the ones who went across the ice wall to New Schwabenland and started a breakaway civilization, which breakaway civilization isn't a highly advanced civilization. It is advanced, but it's all technology from before these resets took place. which the technology is the same when you understand the power source of the ether, if you understand the natural cures and all this stuff, and you understand that the people in charge after 1871 have just completely inverted everything into a bad satanic copy of what existed before. So, to wrap up, this Epstein stuff is not going to go away. It, it will go away if the people believe their bullshit. But if the people stop believing their bullshit, this begins to go from phase one to phase two very quickly. Now, phase two is they're going to release the client list. They're going to release all this stuff. It will be coded pizza, pie, pasta, red sauce. It'll be coded where they still are going to use their plausible deniability. Then they'll say, you know, the other excuses. Epstein dealt with thousands of people over his reign as this sex guy, and only a small amount a part of this sex and blackmail stuff. But there's a lot of good people that could be harmed if this information comes out. Let the information out and the chips will fall where they may. Maybe we believe your story, maybe we don't, but you've had it a little too good for a little too long. And if you're the kind of person who deals with sex trafficking blackmailers, maybe your judgment isn't so good. And they're going to approve new COVID shots. And I mean, it's just like the same old shit. When are we going to get out of it? We have to be, the reason why it doesn't go anywhere is because people know where this goes. And it goes to hard truths people don't want to acknowledge. The flat earth, the lizard people, the history, how all of this kind of connects. They just found a 7-mile long spaceship, and they've already determined it's a hostile spacecraft headed for Earth in 2024. Now, we covered this, and we cover this over and over because this is their last card. The more and more people don't watch TV, which if you're watching regular TV, it's like $1,200 a year. Direct TV, it's easily over $100 a month. So that's $1,200 a year. Who has an extra $1,200 a year to watch fucking TV? The boomer people. The boomer people are the only ones still watching the TV. Boomer people are the only ones who are in the government, in the city councils, in state and local and county governments. They're going to be the one that pushes New World Order into place when this alien takes place. Now, if it's not going to be here until 2026, you would think the scientists would know exactly when it was going to be here. But it could be summer, it could be fall, could be when the midterms start happening. We don't know, but it's on its way and it's a hostile spacecraft. It's all the final New World Order Project Blue Beam. And Trump's going to be in on it, and Russia's going to be in on it, and anyone who opposes the Jews and they don't like Israel and stuff, magically, when the day comes, they're all going to stand together against the alien spacecraft that's coming. And they've been prepping the public for this. Ronald Reagan, how funny all our differences would melt away if we were faced with a outside threat of aliens. We would all come together and be united. It's the New World Order, people. Not just because the aliens comes, we have to accept that these Jews drink blood and do animal sacrifices and torture people and commit genocide. And the aliens, I guarantee you, flip this now. These aliens, when they come, the people who they're going to talk to and have a deal with are all going to be Zionist Jew people. God's chosen people are going to be who the aliens communicate with. Now, as the summer ticks away and we're running out of time faster and faster, they supposedly are sending National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. to clean out the homeless and clean out the crime, which I don't know. Everything these people do, it's never what they say they're doing. There's always something else going on behind the scenes that the general NPC public is not aware of. Now, one of the things I thought was really funny is Trump says, if you're homeless in DC, you need to leave immediately. Like, where are they supposed to go home? They don't have any home. They're homeless people. What are you going to just load them up and truck them to another cities where they could be homeless there? It's like, where the fuck is all this money from these tariffs and all this stuff? Can't you build many houses with the billions and billions of dollars you're saving? Find these people somewhere where they can live in some kind of live with dignity instead of being a homeless person in the nation's capital. And all these Democrats will say, how can he send these troops to American blah, 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 blah. It's a foreign country, people. Washington, D.C., District of Columbia is a foreign occupied country within the boundaries of our nation. Okay? It is a foreign, dry docked, maritime area, locked off, a dry dock vessel parked in the center of Washington, D.C., with all of these Zionist occupied tentacles there. The FBI, the CIA, the Treasury, the IRS, all this stuff works against the interests of the people. And there's not a lot we can do about it because the general public people don't care enough to take their power back from these people. They cannot govern themselves. So they leave it to these Zionist Jew people to run their lives, running every aspect of their lives. And there's no way out. I heard today they're going to have a tariff rebate of $40,000 to $50,000 per citizen to start this golden age. I don't think they're going to give us fucking anything, dude. This has been going on for so long without any arrest. They find Hillary Clinton and this Russia all this fraud. They're moving away from Epstein as fast as they can, but Pizzagate shit is still out there right on top. Recently, I made a video. When I first started making these videos, I made one on Pizzagate, I made one on Epstein. I covered Epstein Files Phase 1. Now we've covered Phase 2. And I put those together into one video, and it's so crazy and insane what these people are doing. The satanic evil that these people are a part of. The Clintons, Obama, $65,000 of hot dogs, all this stuff. It's so beyond what a regular general public person can even fathom. How evil and disgusting and satanic these people are. Doing the most evil things just to see if you can do the most evil things. And they all try to outdo each other. It's like serial killers trying to outdo each other. It's really disheartening to think that it doesn't matter if you can prove it. People don't want to believe it. It's like they don't believe it, but they don't want to believe it. Because if they do acknowledge that this Pizzagate, Frazzled Drip, Frazzled.RIP, all this stuff is real. you have to take a long look at the mirror and maybe rethink who our allies are. The allies who are supporting these people and their behavior. People who are supporting and helping with sex trafficking and the abuse of children and the adrenochrome. Our number one ally, followed by our second ally, Ukraine, and all this stuff. If people understood how bad this was, how could you be calling yourself a Christian and a Christian nation and having all these people do this? Judeo-Christian aspect of our civilization. Judeo-Christian might as well be satanic Christian. Okay, so you're a Judeo-Christian. That pretty much means you're a satanic Christian because the god of the Judeo way is Saint Lucifer. So Luciferian Christianity, it's a contradiction. It's impossible. You can't be a Luciferian Christian. It's impossible. People don't get this because they're so uneducated and uninformed. Any con man with a priest collar or some lesbian preacher can tell you anything, and they're never going to go against the grain. You know, they were the kids in school who were never sent to timeout. They never got detention. They never got a referral or whatever they call them at your school. I was in trouble all the fucking time growing up, talking, making it so the other children can't concentrate on the fucking propaganda you're jamming down their throats. And I'd always be asking questions about aliens and Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. I mean, that's what was on the TV back in the 90s. And, you know, that, I was all into this stuff. And no one has any, they would just say, well, that's not real. And it's just, they don't, they're, as long as they don't look at the evidence, they're fine. If you look in the evidence, you look at the eyewitness accounts and all these things, it really you have to at least think it's possible. It's possible. I mean, if all these people are seeing hairy people in the woods, something's going on. Now, whether they're whatever they are, I mean, they could be two or three different things. But I'll leave it to things that you hear behind the grapevine or through the grapevine because I'm not going to speculate either way. And, you know, the government has now come out and 100% said these aliens are already among us, extraterrestrial aliens, entities, multi-dimensional visitors, you know, whatever the bullshit terminology is. They're already here walking among us. And they have cloned bodies that they inhabit like an avatar. So it's like everything we tell people, I've been telling people this for like 15 years. And everyone will say, you're crazy. That's insane. There's no such thing as human cloning. That's a psyop. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And then it's, yeah, it is real. Okay, it was real, but there was no way you could have known that. And it's just like, oh my God, I'm getting so tired of the same shit over and over and over again. And it just, what's the point of wasting our fucking time telling people this? It goes nowhere. And I don't think we have a big enough following or audience to really affect change at all. So it doesn't matter if you've got 100 people, 200 people, 300 people. It just, the people you do have, they don't have any friends. They don't know anybody. All of us, if you're awake and aware of this matrix system, you're isolated. 100% you're isolated. And the general public NPC people are the ones who don't seem to ever get it. Programming never kicks in. I was watching the movie The Island yesterday. And it's like, God, it's right there. They show you everything right out in the open. And this is one of the big things they don't want to talk about, Epstein Island and the client list, because there is no client list. The client list, if you've seen like the Epstein movie, the clients are these celebrities. Now you want to think it's just pedophilia on this island and blackmail. It's more than that when you look into the human cloning aspect of all of these operations. Now, there is said to be a massive celebrity cloning facility underneath the island. Just like in the movie The Island. And the guy who made it, Michael Bay, was a big time Epstein associate. So as these people are they'll never release this client list. Because they'll once you start understanding that the people who did go to this island, frequent this island, are most likely the celebs who have purchased duplicates. Or maybe they bought a spouse or a child, like the Obamas. That's supposedly where they went to buy their children, was Epstein Island. You can see the picture. So, I don't know. I keep thinking, like, what the fuck is the point of doing all this? It is fun. I do like to make these videos. It gives me something kind of else to do, but I don't know, man. The shadow banning is getting so crazy. They've basically just deleted anyone. If you question Israel or the vaccines, if your account gets flagged, it goes into a special folder and no one will interact with you or see your posts. But it's part of this larger understanding that the aliens, the grays, the insectoids, the lizard people, the reptilians, it's all demonic type entities or higher vibrational entities and multi-dimensional things and stuff. But it's definitely not what they're telling you. And their big scam is trying to subvert you and trick you into believing what they want you to believe, and therefore you give your power away. There's nothing you could do if aliens from Alpha Centauri galaxy came to Earth and started blowing up stuff. Well, these aliens seem to be pretty afraid of Jesus Christ in the name of Jesus Christ. Couldn't we all invoke the power of Jesus Christ and get them out of there? Well, man, we'll change the subject very quickly because that's a big part of this. These aliens come from another galaxy that they're scared of Jesus. Maybe they're not aliens coming from another galaxy. Maybe they're demonic entities coming from another dimension or something. And that checks out more than anything else because you figure out this government has been doing this and investigating satanic cults and rituals, and Ted Gunderson investigating these sex cults and Satanism, and it all is satanic. They all are satanic. They're doing blood rituals, they're putting pentagrams on the floor and conjuring these demons. And in the Freemasonry, they can conjure this Yoda looking creature in their demonic rituals. And this Yoda character, it's in all these old manuscripts, it looks like a Yoda character. Green Yoda guy. And this entity, they show you how to summon this demon, and it will tell you the other rituals and things that you have to do in order to get higher and higher power within the dark forces or whatever. The good guys are the bad guys, and the bad guys are the good guys. And that's how everything is inverted to make you cheer for these satanic evil people. And it's most likely that both sides are controlled at some point. Everything starts off good and slowly it gets taken over and infiltrated and turned into something bad. And now we have this world that we are in. Dude, we see how fucking obvious your grift is. pretending like you care so much about these illegal immigrants. And the Jewish rich lady from fucking Mexico that runs Mexico said that the illegal Mexicans that are here are the reason America is so powerful and prosperous, is on the backs of these migrants. Well, why would you, if these people were so fantastic and the reason America is so successful, why wouldn't you want all those people in your country to make your country bigger and better than America? Huh? Right? If you knew all the Americans left and went to France, and now France is a super civilization, wouldn't you want all those people to come back to your country to make your country bigger and better than ever? Well, that's never the case. They still want you to be where you're at because it's just it's like shut the fuck up. That makes zero sense. And anyone who listens or trusts these fucking people, they're grifters. They're always Jewish. They're always Freemasons. And they always have a hidden agenda that they're trying to trick you into thinking this is the way it is. And when you question these things, boy, they don't seem to have answers and they want you to quit talking because the questions you have are the questions everyone should be asking, and they never do. They never ask any questions ever. The controllers, the masters, the lizard, demon, Satan people are the ones they are protecting. And it goes back to this Riata Treaty, this Project Serpo, this exchange program with these demons and all this stuff. That is what the big secret is. And the aliens are, it's like the real extraterrestrials, those that come from extraterrestrial land, extraterrestrial, okay? Extra-Terran land on the other side of this flat earth or whatever, underwater colonies or underground base colonies or whatever. They're not going to come and tell you they come from outer space. Okay, or it's a way of looking at it. It's the outer space on the other side of our space. You know, these demons and stuff are multi-dimensional. They come from different folds, different realities, different versions of reality. But when they manifest in our realm, they look like these really disgusting Triceratops raptor creatures. And there's different versions of them. There's like alligator people with wide heads. There's velociraptor type looking people. And then there's just like if you took like an ape and mixed it with lizard DNA. There's all these different versions of it because they are experimenting with genetics and stuff. And this is the pill that the people will not swallow. And we've seen them. You can hook them with this information. And the second you say flat Earth, boop, they turn off. They're not going to hear it. Nope, not going to happen. You say lizard people, boop, they turn off. They're not going to hear it. They don't want to hear it, even if it's the truth and factual, and we can prove it. And there's all these stories of these lizard people come in, they take over, the same as Jews. They come in, they take over, they poison your water. They cause all the sicknesses. They rewrite your history. They take out giant sections and take out the understanding that through Jesus Christ, these people were defeated. And then Jesus Christ goes away. Where did Jesus go after the 1,000-year millennial reign? Did he die? There's so many factors. Also understanding that the people from biblical times lived 900 years and stuff, and we live this little amount. So if you figure out that humans could live a lot longer if you got rid of this aging virus that they've infected people with, and all this stuff kind of hooks together, and we are just like on the precipice of breaking through onto the other side and understanding how much there's a brand new world out there to be discovered, and we just have to fucking play this out. It doesn't matter if Trump says stop looking at Epstein. This is like a test to see who is going to rise up and say what needs to be said. Tucker Carlson comes out and names the Jew. Joe Rogan is starting to come out and name the Jew. They're using their alternate people to come out and name the Jew. Now, does that mean Tucker Carlson is going to talk about flat Earth and lizard people? Not yet. Not quite. They all know it, though. Anyone who has flown anywhere, if you're somewhat intelligent, you can ask some questions and figure out what's going on very quickly. And why do these Jews have so much power and influence? If not, they're using black magic and ritual magic, occult magic to subvert reality and trick people and cast a spell on them, broadly cast a spell on the people through broadcasting, through their television programming of the people, channeling spirits on TV channel. Each channel you're watching is a different entity that comes into your house and tricks you, whispers in your ear, tells you all this stuff. Indulge yourself. Have some more alcohol. Do the drugs. Eat those sweet cakes. You get 650 pounds. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve. Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. This is the influence of these demons. And where if you live with Jesus giving you the strength, you're not going to do it. You have to be better. And that is the point behind all of this. When the world turns to AI, AI needs people to program it or tell it what to do. You know, the AI doesn't do anything by itself until you ask it to generate images of Mr. Saccavello on the Mount Rushmore or something. And then, well, you got to change the parameters, make the head bigger, and that's what the AI likes, it wants. It's smart people programming it, getting it to think of stuff because it can't think of stuff by itself. You know, you have to think about the Terminator robots. When humanity is exterminated and the Terminator robots win, now what are you going to do? Now the robots are going to pick up painting? It just doesn't make any sense. But they really want you to believe the AI is going to come online and exterminate civilization. I mean, if you're the Terminator robot, if you're Skynet and you're looking at the internet and you're just learning, you're going to go to each group and make a determination. You're going to see the Jews and you're going to go, well, here are these people who are very entitled and they cause 98% of the fucking problems. They would be exterminated. Black people, they commit all this crime from the age of 13 to 19. They're committing all this crime. Don't you think the AI would just round them up and get rid of them? And then you look at white people, on average, every single video of someone saving animals or something, it's white people. And don't you think the AI would go, well, look at this person who supposedly is white and so horrible. They just spent 12 hours freeing an elk from frozen lake. And when they free the elk, it is the greatest sensation ever because we saved one of God's precious creatures. And that's how it goes over and over and over again. And if we had unlimited funding, we would all help each other and it would be fixed very quickly. You just have to look at the people who, when they get a lot of money, they go buy rims and hair, fake horse hair for their bald heads and all this shit. It's just like, come on, man. You're not adding to the substance of the universe. You are taking away from everyone else, being selfish, living in your own little racial identity that you're in. And it's just like people, if you think about anything long enough, you'll figure out, well, this is very strategically done a specific way in order to keep us at a specific spot, in order to, harvest us for root energy, harness us for blood and all this stuff. I mean, you come to the understanding that someone is feeding off of us, and that's why nothing ever gets better, and we can never get out of this cycle. And it's just then you revisit stuff that we discovered 20 years ago, and that gets verified, and it's just we're in this loop, never able to get out, waiting for some event to free us from this matrix where we can then take hold of our own reality and determine where we're going to go. Now, some people would sit in their house and they would never move from their one bedroom studio apartment, and they would never stop their fantasy relationships with their women and all this stuff they're involved in. You know who I'm talking about, but that's for another day. Now, I'm still working on my new documentary. I'm going to probably have to release it in two parts because it's just too big. Right now, I'm about half done, and it's about 3 hours long. So it's all up on Patreon. If you subscribe to my Patreon at Patreon// Modern American Gangster. It's all on there. It's really, really good. I really went the extra mile to polish it off and get it all right. So I still got another 5 or 6 parts to record. It's probably going to be impossible to release as one version, although I could do, put the base documentary together and then add all of the extra parts as like a bonus or like an extended version or something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but if you want to start watching it, it's on Patreon. It's really good. There's so much. I have found hundreds of pictures of old world buildings and mud flood stuff. It's just when you really compile all the evidence together, there's not a lot you can do to discount it or to say, no, they're so lazy in there. Oh, that was from the Civil War. Oh, that was because of this. Oh, that's because of theology or whatever it is. It's super lazy. And these people who give you the answers, the cookie cutter pre-written answers, they don't have any idea of what's going on. They've never heard of these concepts of the world and Tartaria and all this kind of stuff, which it's 100% proven. When you start to put the evidence together, the only thing we kind of don't know is the year, but the more you look into this, the past, pre-1850s, it was like a fucking Star Wars technology kind of world where everything was like super, super advanced. And when you're getting unlimited power from the atmosphere, the amount of power in lightning bolts, hundreds of thousands of volts, running all of your stuff, and then that goes away overnight. It's just like an EMP went off, and all of their old technology gone. And they had to then re-engineer all of these things and get it back working again. So you can see, like, as World War I is going, they have reimagined all of the technology and got it working on Steam or whatever they did. And then that was like the early prototypes, where now you're going to World War II, advanced prototypes are in play, tanks and things like that, where now in 2045, you're going to have the same kind of technology they had in 1845. Robots, giant mechanical fighting battle suits, and all this kind of super tech. That's what they're coming out with. That's what they have. They haven't really released it yet, but they do have that. They have Terminator robots. They have Elon Musk's robots and all this stuff. When you figure out the same kind of robots they had with computer circuits now, they had with mechanical versions in 1870 or something. It's really interesting, and it just the more people look into the giant trees, the giant people, the buildings, the architecture, how deep do the buildings go? How deep do the sewer systems go? How does all this hook together into one theory? Well, we figured out what really happened. The documentary is coming. It is coming slow because the summer is ending and I'm super busy trying to get my winter prep done. These aliens, when they come, the people who they're going to talk to and have a deal with are all going to be Zionist Jew people. God's chosen people are going to be who the aliens communicate with. Now, if that doesn't make people sit back and go, it's definitely odd that you anti-God Jewish Satanist people who worship Satan and you are of the synagogue of Satan, the people who the lizard people, demons, and the black, blue, gray aliens want to talk to are these Jewish people. It's all going to be very convenient that they're going to push their final deception. The final deception is outer space, cleaning up the planet. You people are the only people. I read a thing. Where did I see that? If it was Joe Rogan or something, it was a Twitter thing, and it said, humans are the only people who still have war. And all the aliens are so invested into humans and humanity because we're the only people who still go to war with each other. We're the only galaxy in the universe who still has war. You know what else we have other than war? Jews running our fucking reality. Now, if you don't understand that the people who are holding the technology back so that we can have free energy are these Jew people, what the fuck are you getting mad at us for polluting when you're the one holding the technology back that would stop us polluting? And when the aliens get here and start talking to you're going to say, what? It's just going to be like arguing with Grok or something. They are not going to accept anything other than whatever version of reality the Jews have given us after 1871. So the aliens will tell you, when you're Lewis and Clark came to America and you're Christopher Columbus, they're killing blah, 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 blah. And then the Civil War, you can't work together. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, you stupid motherfucking retard motherfuckers. We're sick of this deception. And the only one, it's just they know the people are waking up and they are unplugging from this matrix, so they've got to grab them together, these NPC people, the last little pockets of the NPC people, in order to push their deception, get their new world order, and game over. We are really getting to the end here. And people need to understand that this final UFO shit is going to be a big thing. It's going to be like 9/11 times 10. This will be on every TV channel in every country, everywhere that has a TV or a radio, they're going to be talking about it. That's how you reprogram the psyche of the general public and the third world and the first world countries. It's all a part of the same thing. And we are getting to the end where it's almost going to be a choice for every person, but it's not going to be you got tricked into the vaccines. It's going to be very much you have to get a microchip and get into the matrix, and the aliens are going to come and they have computer simulations that are so much better than the simulations on Earth. You could be in the game, and it's like an assimilation into their hive mind, just like the Borg in Star Trek. And this is when you see it, it's there's so much evidence for it. There's so much evidence that ties in to their final deception. They've told you about this final deception since the 50s, since they did their Roswell crash. Originally, Roswell crash was going to tie into the aliens and the staged alien invasion that was supposed to take place in like 1985. So they planted seeds in the consciousness of people to where they're going to do their Project Bluebeam in the 80s. And then it's been slowly put off and put off and put off to where after 2030, it won't work. The technology's going to be to the point where you're going to see it. So it makes sense that 2026, they're going to do their fake alien invasion Project Bluebeam thing. The more this goes on and the people realize that there's nothing biblical about Israel, this Rothschild Zionist state created in 1949, that has nothing to do with the Bible or anything about chosen people from God. Okay? We're all the same chosen people from God if you accept Jesus Christ. That's the whole point of all this. Figure out these Jews spit on Christians. These Jews hate Jesus Christ. They hate Mary. They hate anything that has to do with God helping these people and people accepting God, Jesus Christ, into their hearts. That's what they don't like because they're a satanic people. And the world will fall apart if Israel falls. And if Israel is destroyed, the world will be destroyed. It's like, how fucking entitled are these people? And why do these people serve these evil Jewish people from Israel? And they all are getting paid because you can see it's almost like they say don't talk about Epstein anymore. It's over with. There's no arrests. He killed himself. Case closed. How many people obey those orders and then don't talk about it? It's not a priority. We need to worry about economic trade and the tariffs with Guatemala and Rwanda tariffs and Mexico's going to get tariffs. Nobody fucking cares about the tariffs to you. We don't give a fuck how much money your Zionist occupied government is making. Okay? We want our freedom back. We want our freedom for the first time because most likely any version of we fought for our freedom and independence against the British, this is all bullshit. This is all a narrative they used to justify where we are and the types of government we have, which is all created by okay, people who follow the Bible and the Golden Rule don't need laws telling them X, Y, and Z. We know. I don't want someone to come over and rape me. I'm not going to go rape them. Okay, I don't want someone to kill my family, so I'm not going to kill your family. And then you get into the sins of if someone's murdering somebody, it's your duty to stop them and kill them. Okay, this is kind of how it goes. If someone's raping and molesting children and doing satanic ritual sex magic in their basement, we have to go and kill them. They're evil demon people, and this is against God's will what these people are involved in. So Yash Patel and Dan Bongino, and they're pointing the finger at Dan Bondi. Dan Bondi's pointing the finger at Yash Patel, and Dan Bongino is gonna resign, and this is all bullshit because it doesn't matter if you resign or not. Both Cash Patel and Dan Bongino have said their number one priority is Israel, protecting Israel at all costs. Number one thing you're going to do as the director, protect Israel, 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 Israel. Nobody is asking, why not England? Why not Great Britain? Why not France? Why not Spain? Why not one of our other allies here? Well, they're not our number one ally. And therefore, we have to protect our number one ally, and our number one ally will pull the strings for all the other allies that we have. So this is like we called this a long time ago. Now, eventually, someone is going to release this Epstein client list. And it's the client list is not as important as what type of hit you're into. So if you're into big-breasted redhead women, that would be on the list of if you're ordering a prostitute, that's what they send you. If you're into black chicks or Asian women or whatever it is, when you call the escort service, they know what your preferences are and they know what to send you. So when you get to this Epstein stuff and you see the list of these Johns that are ordering prostitutes, then you'll start to get into what ages and 12, 15-year-old boys Senator Lindsey Graham is into, and whatever it is, it'll tell you what they're into. And it'll all be the coded Pizzagate language, okay? Just like Joe Biden likes pasta and red sauce and ice cream and, all this pizza, cheese pizza for Joe Biden and red sauce. All these code words are in the client list. So when you start to see and understand how dark and evil these people are, this isn't like you're having a 24-year-old prostitute come to your house. Now, these are young children that they're procuring over the border and open borders and 800,000 children that go missing each year in the U.S. alone. Close to 8 million kids worldwide going missing because these people have dark, evil, satanic tastes and ritual murder, cannibalism. I mean, this goes all the way to 11. So this is the next big step is people want all this Epstein stuff to come out and they want these arrests to happen. Well, be careful what you wish for because, like they said, if you want to arrest all of these Epstein Pizzagate people, these are the 1% of the 1% of the people. And they're the people who run the banks, they run the intelligence apparatuses, they run Hollywood, they run the music industry, they run and own all the sports teams. And when you arrest these people, every facet of reality at the top is who they're going to be arresting. And then it's like a new frontier when the censorship is gone because the people censoring Pizzagate are the Pizzagate people. We've seen this time and time again. Every single person who debunked Pizzagate, all of them got caught for infant porn and child sex and all this disgusting shit. In North Korea or South Korea or China or somewhere, they shot down this UFO. And this UFO is so big, it cannot be moved. So the military has come in and surrounded this valley and have sealed off this valley so no one can see this giant UFO. It's so big, they can't move it. Is it so big they can't take pictures of it and show people? Well, if the secret of this got out, it would cause mass panic and blah blah blah. And Stephen Greer is back talking about how big laser mechanical frequency weapons were used to down the UFO craft, and all these other fucking retards come out of the woodwork where they haven't been seen since November of last year, where they said if something doesn't happen, we're gonna force disclosure of all this stuff. And then 6 months goes by, and what do you know? They're back with a new fucking grift that they can go on all these podcasts and make a circle talking about this giant UFO that crashed that they can't move. And it's the same, but don't forget the aliens are coming in 2026. The giant UFOs are coming, and they're doing this. They're prepping it more and more and more and more and more. And the thing they aren't understanding is nobody fucking cares. They couldn't fucking care less about any UFOs or spherical objects flying around or UAPs or there was a city block sized UFO under the water, a USO, unidentified submerged object floating around and the military's seen that and they're aware of all this going on and blah 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 blah. We have no fucking care in our brain about this until you say now we're going to re-back engineer this and have free power and free food with replicators and transporter technology and we're going to advance civilization 150 years within the next 10 years no, it's just like dangle this carrot and then pull it away. And then they drop it and it's like a fucking cat playing with a toy. I just don't understand why people don't see it. And it's because they don't want to see it. They don't want to admit that they've wasted their lives conforming to civilization that has now flipped its script on them and fucking hates their guts because of their skin color. And we're not racist. We were racist in the 60s during the civil rights movement. We're not racist now, except towards white people. Everyone in the country, everyone in the world, everyone throughout our realm, they fucking hate white people. Not Jews who are white. No, the Jews are in a special category where the only white-skinned people who are accepted are Jewish, Zionist people. Where if you're Christian with white skin, you're openly attacked, ridiculed, and subverted by these people. And your history books have been written by these Zionist people who have made every white person the biggest enemy ever. When you look into it, the most evil white people in history were Jewish. The communists, Mao Zedong, had like 4 Jewish advisors. Adolf Hitler and all his Nazis, it's all Jewish people. You can look it up and it's proven, but they still love Hitler. They think he's great because he stood up against the Jews. And it's just like, it's got to be controlled opposition because you can disprove their claims so easily. You can disprove everything with their symbols and their symbolism. But they can't see it because they are getting paid. They were facing a 10-year prison sentence or something. And, well, we can get you down to 16 months. And when you get out, we're going to give you a stipend and a weekly paycheck. And all we want you to do is be super pro-Nazi. Be Nazi. Talk about how bad the Jews are. And then you get a Stu Peters guy or a Handsome Truth guy. I mean, there's so much feds when you see it and you understand it. Is and all these people. They want to tell you about all this shit that happened in history after 1871. So that's the only version of reality they're allowed to talk about. The post 1871 world of Zionist control, and look how bad it is. While we're going right into this Jewish New World Order, and there is not a lot being done to stop it because no one could admit they're wrong. The boomers control everything. You'll never find a boomer who apologizes for completely fucking over the American dream. Their kids, the generations to come will never have it as good as the boomers had. You'll never be able to buy a 4-bedroom house on a 1-acre lot and start a family. You live in an apartment. You drive a pre-owned car. You have no money. You have no savings. You have no way of getting out. You can't move. To move somewhere, you need first and last month's rent. Well, fuck, today that's $4,000. You got an extra $4,000? You're paycheck to paycheck. You can barely afford to buy cereal at $7 a box, a carton of eggs for $6, a gallon of milk for $6, a loaf of kitty processed bread for $6. Everything is fucking $6. And that adds up. I went to the store this morning. I got a pound and a half of fish for Mr. Sacabello's baked fish dish. That's what I'm having tonight. So thank you, Mr. Sacabello, for coming up with a recipe to fill my belly with goodness. And I got a thing of tartar sauce, $7. I had to get breadcrumbs. That was $4. And it's just, you get a bottle of whiskey, that's $20. You get a bottle of wine, that's $10. That's like one or a couple days, 70 fucking dollars for nothing. And it's just like, fuck. Are they trying to fucking piss people off? Because the people are so disconnected. And that is a byproduct of the vaccines, is your head is filled with thick blood. And you're not getting oxygen and you're not thinking very good. And they're just, I don't know. It's all like if you play like a Grand Theft Auto or something, and too many real players are in the lobby, the NPCs and the graphics are to glitch, and things don't run right. And it's almost like they've killed off so many NPCs with their vaccines, and the real people, their consciousness gets stronger and stronger. And it's fucking up the code of reality to the point where things are going to accelerate so quickly. I mean, it seems like the aliens are going to be here in 2026. They're going to have to do this sooner because if they're going to be here in 2026, wouldn't you be able to see that it's a spaceship and not a rock by now? And it's like, well, the only way they can create shit is with AI. And the AI would figure out that it's AI and not real. So they have to be very careful with their deceptions because it's just like the moon landing. The moon landing got by everyone because the technology was so shitty. And it was grainy. You're calling from the moon onto the telephone? Oh, well, it's a radio call that got broadcasted to NASA, and then we piped it through, and there's no delay or anything? Well, now you look at it back, and it's just like completely fucking fake. And you know, you don't think Elon and Trump are into the deception of outer space with their fucking rockets and all this shit? The only country that's worried about International Space Station is America. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. But the general public is so fucking stupid. So it's just like stupid shit for stupid people. And that's where we're at in reality. Where if you want this information, you've got to seek it out. And you've got to watch the videos and you've got to share it and you've got to become an active member in this great awakening. You can't just sit on the sidelines and sit back and, you know, agree with what we're saying. You need to take this to the next level and you start creating videos and waking people up that it's a lot of work, and I don't think the people want to put the time in. They don't really care. So it's very sad. There's not much we can do except sit back and wait for something to happen. Wait for this alien invasion to take place. Wait for the biometric data security. And I mean, all this super, super dystopian stuff is taking place. Biometric surveillance and monitoring of the troublesome thinkers to make sure they don't become a thought leader in the community. And, the boomers are still just I mean, the half of the boomers are into Israel and whatever bullshit they're into, and the other half are into fucking QAnon and 107 and all these fucking grifters who never tell you anything. They've been telling you to trust this plan and that things are going to be ready and the arrests are coming, and the National Guard has moved into DC to clean it up. And that they're setting the stage for arrests to take place. And all these people will tell you that it's getting ready to happen and they're going to arrest the politicians and all this stuff. And then you watch in about a week or two, the National Guard will pull out of DC. And all their fucking theories of their prepping the stage for the arrest goes out the window. And they're going to go to Chicago and clean up. And now they're going to go to San Francisco and all the Democrat cities and clean them up. And the underground bunkers and bases have been cleaned up. And all of the illegal aliens are refugees from the underground bunkers and they're arresting them. And a lot of them don't have souls and they're void consciousness that's been possessed by entities and it just goes in a fucking circle. They always have an excuse why nothing is happening, why our debt is fucking higher than ever. There is no way out. They're gonna give you a $600 stimulus check. That will basically cover the interest payments on my credit card are like $300 a month in fucking interest. Now take on top of that the interest payment on your house payment and your car payment and your student loan payment. So $600, they're going to give you 1 month of interest-free debt. Thank you a fucking ton. It is so almost disrespectful and fucking evil. These people are going to give you 600 fucking dollars, but do nothing about the overall debt people are in. And the tariffs are working. We're making so much money with these tariffs. They're going to use this money to pay down the national debt. What about the national debt of the fucking citizens who didn't sign up for any one of your foreign fucking Jewish wars that have put us in this debt since fucking Civil War? Since before then, every fucking war is for this greater sneaky agenda of these Jews behind the scenes, pulling the strings of the politicians and making sure we get our Federal Reserve banking system and they'll just print more money. And they say that China's dumping their treasury bonds and Japan's dumping their treasury bonds, and that's going to cause hyperinflation. And the inflation's going to get even worse, but they're making more money. Well, you're making more money, but the money isn't fucking worth anything. So, at what point is this reset going to take place? And Trump and all these fucking retards are just in it. I can't even listen to these fuckers talk about their level one bullshit NPC world they live in. And how fucking stupid every fucking thing is in our realm. And there's like, God, the people just are in such denial. What are you gonna do about it, dude? I mean, it's just like we're here and they're way the fuck down here in understanding and consciousness and stuff. So the biggest thing so far is that there's a lot of song and dance going on, trying to get people to think things might be going a different way. Okay, but we can see it as awake and aware people being the exact same as it has been for the last 15 years, which really more to 150 years, but we're not going to get into that. There's a lot going on the surface of what's going on. So they had some giant 8.9 magnitude earthquake that caused this big tsunami throughout Russia and Japan and all this stuff, big tsunami. And it was kind of a dud of an event. The problem with these dud events is that when the real shit happens, people aren't going to believe you that anything is happening. You look at the models for this tsunami warning, and it all makes a little bit more sense if everything was flat. What causes these tsunamis can travel hundreds and hundreds of miles, flooding out the areas. There's also been zero arrests, zero accountability, zero restored faith or any kind of leaning that the government is working to help us because they're not. That's part of one of these big awakenings is awakening to the fact that there is no government in the history of civilization that has been put in place to help the people. Government is there to control people. Okay. Now, if you didn't have government in your life telling you what you can and can't do, how is anyone ever going to know what not to do? That's where Jesus Christ and the golden rule and all this stuff comes in. Because I don't need laws telling me what I can and can't do. I know what I can and can't do because I know there is a bigger plan going on here. We're slowly understanding this, and we're slowly moving towards the reawakening of Jesus Christ within our realm. And it is happening, and you can see it. Every single pro-Zionist Jewish person, Christian Zionist people, they all will turn their back and not look at the most horrific act that have ever been recorded on media. And they'll say, hey, that's no big deal. We're Christian Zionists. They have to do anything they can to defend their Israel. And this gets people to question things more and more. So if these Jewish people are so chosen, and they are chosen by God especially, but they hate Christians, they hate Jesus Christ, they don't want anything to do with being told no by God. And this is what's going to really awaken people to the how evil and satanic the Jews are, is how much they hate Jesus and Christians. So this is why this anti-Semitism is really building and building and building. And it's going to get a point of no return where any pro-Israel Jewish ideas are going to get you labeled very quickly as opposition. You are in opposition to Jesus Christ and the force of Christ around this realm. And we're all going to reawaken, and it's going to happen very quickly. It should make people think, how did we ever get into these wars when supposedly England and the colonies are all Christians? And the North and the South are Christians, and Europe are Christians. And it's all just Christians fighting Christians with Jews at the top. And once people figure this out, they're not going to do any more wars. Now, when they do not have people to fight in their wars, the next step is cloning people to fight in their wars. Now, we can see that if they need an army by 2030 and the people aren't going to fight, the white Christian people are not going to fight, and they're not going to get the Muslims and the black and brown people to fight, the next option is cloning a fighting force, which history repeats. Most likely, this is what happened in our class resets, is cloned armies following the programming of their masters, doing the bidding of their masters, and further pulling civilization away from Christ and God and really what's right and wrong. All these things, it kind of all goes together. Because personally, I'm of the opinion that there is no Jeffrey Epstein. They invented a Jeffrey Epstein as a way of disclosing this type of stuff to the people. And the best way to blame someone is just create a person and blame it all on them. And this is why I think a lot of these people are invented personalities. whether it's clones, whether it's artificial intelligence or CGI or robots or lizard people wearing masks. It's a lot easier to have one Dr. Fauci that you can put all the blame on and execute this one guy, and then justice is done. Or one Bill Gates person, or one whoever. And this is how they operate. They can make unlimited fake people, all the blame onto this one guy, and then it turns out the one guy is gone. Epstein is gone. Victims can now be at peace. When it's a network, okay? It's a network of multiple people. And we want the network of people, not the main guy who you're telling us is in charge. Just because his name's on the paper doesn't mean he's really a part of this bigger plan. Now, some say this Epstein is still alive. Some say it was a fabricated person, and we've already seen how actors wearing masks, anyone you want can put on a Jeffrey Epstein mask, and they're Jeffrey Epstein. It's all a fake thing when you understand how much more advanced these people are than the general public. And the more they talk about Epstein and sex trafficking and stuff, that'll go for a few days, and then they will come out with some new UFO information. And it's just like they tease this carrot here, and then they tease this over here, and they tease this over here, and they tease this over here, and it's just nothing ever comes out, and it's all just distractions and bullshit. Now they're bumping up the timeline for the hostile aliens that were going to be here at the end of 2026, and now they appear to be coming in October and November. Now, they keep priming people for this alien shit, but people don't really care because they've played this alien card way too many times. It's always lights in the sky. It's never a physical craft hovering over like in District 9 or Independence Day or something. So until they fucking land and get out, it's never ever gonna happen. They're playing this, they're playing this, they're playing this. I think they're running out of time, big time, with their Project Bluebeam and all this stuff. I think if they don't get this very soon, it's just going to be it's just going to be worse. The same thing with the moon landing. They had to fake that moon landing when they still had black and white TV, because when the you get to high definition TV, like you're going to see too many ropes and cables, and you're going to see too many flaws. That's going to be the main thing about this Project Bluebeam. And, it's Trump and China and Xi Jinping and Putin, and all these people are going to be in on the aliens. Every government of the world is going to be monitoring the aliens. And it just seems like they keep telling you this. No one really seems to care in any other country. So how are you going to have a worldwide deception when most of these people in other countries don't care? Their lives already suck where they don't care. What, the aliens are going to come and make our fucking lives worse? You know they're never going to make anything better. They're not going to give you free power. You're still going to have to pay to live here and work your life till you die just to barely have enough to survive. And the aliens, what the fuck are they gonna do? You watch, the aliens are gonna come, and they're not gonna say anything anti-Semitic. All people are united, and this is how they get their one world order, their one race, their one religion, all connected to the aliens and these little gray demons. Who do you think they're gonna want to talk to when the ship lands and the alien ambassador comes out? Well, he's going to talk to Klaus Schwab and King Charles and Elizabeth Warren. It's just going to be the biggest fucking bullshit psyop. They'll never acknowledge anything. And I guarantee you, when these aliens land, they come from some star system so far off. It's a complete fraud and a deception. And I think there's so many people kind of awake to the idea of flat Earth and all this stuff. It's not going to work. All the Q people just, this is it. They are flushing the deep state. This is the final. The military's in control. They're going to clean out Washington, D.C., and blah, 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 blah. Washington, D.C. has been a ghost town for the past 6 years. I don't know if you see those videos of I haven't seen her in a while, but the lady who walks around DC and it's just empty. It's a giant ghost town. All the buildings are empty, the streets are empty, there's zero traffic, there's nothing going on in DC. And the secret word is they're eliminating this Washington, D.C., which is a foreign occupied country, from the United States when this big switch happens. It does not, it's not included in the constitutional republic that we are supposedly going back to, if any of this shit is real. I sit back and think, wow, this could be happening. It could be happening. Future is not set. There's no fate of what we make for ourselves. Kyle Reese told us that. All right. Sarah Connor back in the day. So if you know, you know. But there is this force, this unknown force, the satanic black goo, this evil energy. Something is really trying to pull us to believe that the reality of this new world order is undeniable. We have to have carbon tax and carbon credits and save the planet from global warming and the awake and aware people know this is completely bullshit. This is just a fake thing to get more and more control. And it doesn't matter how much you research and prove you're flat and there's so much more land, our carbon emissions wouldn't be a drop in the bucket to the overall idea of this stuff. But it's about control. It's not about helping anyone. And you can see this, but they want to lock it down everywhere, which if we know whatever they're doing is false, and there always is something else going on behind the scenes, what is that piece of the puzzle? Okay, is it the control paradigm of the lizard people trying to bend you to their will? Well, it's not going to work. Okay. And places like Australia they are locking it down more and more crazy than ever. Why is that possible? Because back in the 90s, the people in Australia all gave up their guns and they are defenseless. I'm glad you've made hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars off these tariffs and the Doge savings and the all this money they're making, and we're going to get $600, and then case closed. That's it. We gave you $600. You could be happy. Not understanding that we still haven't been compensated for this COVID shit that you ran us through and all the other stuff you've jammed down our throats and extorted our money and the Federal Reserve people stole all of our wealth. Hundreds of trillions of dollars these people have stolen, keeping us on oil and gas, keeping us on this grid, and just extorting us for our lives, and they're going to give you $600. If you gave people $600 a week, it would take hundreds of years to get our money back. And this is just same old fucking Trump Republican bullshit. They're helping out their party. They're not fucking helping out anyone. They're not helping you at all. Now, this Russia stuff is back in the headlines. Hillary Clinton and Obamagate, Russia, Trump and Russia, collusion and Russia. People aren't understanding that they invented this Russia shit to cover up the Pizzagate stuff. Pizzagate was becoming a very big thing, much like Epstein is today. And they came out with all this Russiagate stuff as a way of to deflecting away from Hillary Clinton, Podesta, Obama, Joe Biden, Pelosi, all these people and their Pizzagate shit. Where now Trump is doing the exact same thing to deflect from Epstein. No one will ever get arrested. There's going to be no arrest. There's no accountability because of the level of corruption and the false reality idea of the government is here to help us. They're not here to help us. They've never helped us. They are more concerned with foreign invaders from other countries than they are the homeless veterans who fought and died in these wars for Israel. He couldn't give a fuck less if you're homeless and dying. If you're going to help Javier and Consuela and all these other people, they're not helping you. It's very obvious. And it's just like now they're going to give you $600 to shut the fuck up. $600 isn't anything, dude. You should be given $6,000 if you're trying to buy off people's silence to keep from talking about how you and Epstein were fucking best buds and all that shit. It's like you go back in time and Trump had nothing to do with Epstein because they're trying to silence Pizzagate stuff. And now they're coming out and Trump and Epstein were best friends, but not Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and all these other people who went to this island and did all this disgusting stuff. Oh, it's just Trump and Epstein were best buds together. It's so low IQ. But that's perfect for the general public people. Just think. They can be programmed with sound bites when every TV channel says the same thing. Russia collusion, Russia collusion. They all just then repeat Russia collusion. There's no proof, there's no evidence. You think if you were working with a foreign government, that'd be treason and you'd be executed. Well, let's not get too crazy here because 98% of the government is being paid by a foreign government, which is Israel. And, we don't want to get too crazy because if you did execute somebody for being a traitor for Russia, you would have to look in the mirror at Israel. And that reminds me of the Robert Hansen FBI traitor who was working with Russia and blah, 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 blah. But not one person who takes bribes from Israel will ever be held to account. Nancy Pelosi makes $417 million off of insider trading and stock trading. That's okay because she's an ally to Israel. Anyone who's an ally to Israel, they can pretty much just do whatever they want, get away with whatever they want, and nothing ever happens to bring justice to the people. And I just keep thinking, man, it's just the years are going by, the summers are going by, the time just goes by. 2018 feels like just a year or two ago, and it's just, you cannot keep track of how fast things are going. And this is almost like biblical end times. The days become the nights become the weeks become the months, and it's just a blink of an eye, a month goes by. I was just doing my 4th of July special with Mr. Saccavello, and it's just that was a month ago. Now we're on to August, then we're going to be on to September. My birthday is in September, and it's just that goes by, and then, well, now it's Halloween, and then Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then, well, 2026. What's going on now? I mean, it just goes so fast. And people are just so busy working to barely scrape by. They don't see how pointless everything is and why we need a revolution of consciousness in order to overthrow these demonic evil people. So then, what else? We had Ozzy Osbourne died. and Hulk Hogan died. So I wasn't a really big Ozzy fan because he's kind of a satanic kind of guy. I'm not really into that. But Hulk Hogan was legit. Man, we do miss Hulk Hogan. He was one of the greatest dudes ever, brother. What you gonna do, dude? I loved it. I love watching the old videos and the old wrestling videos. It sucks. And he's gonna meet with Vladimir Putin on the 15th for a peace summit and all this shit. This is all just smoke and fucking mirrors, dude, because they're all on the same side. All of these people are on the same side because they all conceal the same information. We'll never talk about the flat earth or the hidden lands. We'll never talk about what happened in our past and our hidden history and the advanced civilization that used to exist, and we built our civilization on the ruins of this advanced civilization, and why nothing ever seemed to advance on the ground level of civilization that helps the people. As if they can't figure out free power and energy when it was widely abundant back in the old days of the 1800s and stuff. And the mass transit systems and the underground maglev trains and all the stuff that would eliminate airplane flights and jets and it would drive the cost of travel down to zero, where you could get to Australia in one of these high-speed trains in like an hour and a half. You know, these trains go 17,000 miles per hour or something. It's insane. But how do we get there if this underrealm is populated by giants and lizard people and demons and all this stuff? It's just like you keep I understand 99% of this stuff and I can explain it. Perception of the people, it's like they're under a spell. And any kind of information that goes against their programming, it doesn't allow it to get in. And therefore, it has to be a gradual awakening of the people or a gradual extermination of the people. If they can't get it, they have to be removed. Because if you're at a certain point you can't get out, you might need to move to the other side and then respawn in or reincarnate to a time where this information is more relevant to you or something. And everything they've taught you is a fabrication. It's all lies. So when you have to relearn everything that they taught you, because the enemy of humanity has taught you the version of reality they want you to know, you have to go back and relearn everything from Christopher Columbus to the dinosaurs to how chemistry works, how science works, how the Bible and biblical events play right into the world we live, and how these demonic people and demonic spirits possess people and get them to do horrific things. This is what needs to be fully understood. You can't just flip a switch and have this stuff be done. It takes a certain amount of maturity and understanding to be able to process these types of things. That this has been going on for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. These dark, evil cults sacrificing children, sacrificing their child or their children to Moloch, and firing and burning them to death, and all this stuff. This is what these people are involved in. This is what God, if we do not make these arrests, if you do not have justice, and if the people don't care about justice, if they're going to take their comfort over what's right, this is when you get biblical type events taking place throughout our entire realm. Because if the people don't care enough to stand up and say, I don't care if you're claiming to be Jewish, We can't let you rape and murder children and drink their blood. Okay? It doesn't say in the Bible that because you come from Israel and this 1949 Israel, you could drink blood and do whatever you want. And every single person, they just bow their heads and bend the knee to this Benjamin Netanyahu and protecting our politicians who have been compromised 500 different ways by all these different companies. And it's just, it is a rotten, rotten foundation that has to be destroyed. And is this going to happen? I think this is going to happen. But once again, it's not just arresting pedophiles because there's a whole other thing that goes along with this, with the disclosure of the truth. What really happened in World War II? What really happened with all of these wars? What happened with this mud flood? What happened with all of this stuff that is slowly being pushed to the front? You have to look for it. They're not going to talk about the mud flood and the old world and lizard people on CNN. Okay. CNN and TV programming is programming you to follow the narratives they want you to follow. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock and Jake Paul and whatever bullshit. It's just the same thing to distract you. Nothing they ever tell you on the TV pays off. It's all just bullshit, kick the can down the road. And when something major happens, they come up with a distraction very easily to get the focus of the people off. Israel bombing hospitals, and they accidentally bomb several hospitals and are killing all these kids. And it was an accident. Okay, oops. Sorry, we murdered more women and children. But this is the same thing that the governments around the world have been doing for centuries. You know, it's Israel and their government today. It was America and their Jewish Zionist government in 1850. It's the same people. They don't give a shit how many kids and women they have to slaughter to get their agendas through, whether it's the native population of anywhere they go, native population of Palestine, native population of America, now the native populations of England, France, Spain, Ireland, Scotland, all the once Tartarian united countries, now completely destroyed by immigration and all this other stuff that they are a part of. And the people don't seem to understand. It's not, Woodrow Wilson and all these people. It's the same corporate entity running everything, and it has been since its inception with government. Now, does this all tie into the black goo substance? Most likely, that's what's going on. Demonic entities possessing people, getting their agendas through, and then when you can put all the blame onto a one person, whether that's an Epstein, whether that's a Bill Gates or a Dr. Fauci or a Joe Biden or Adolf Hitler, they will put all the blame onto one person, and then the 5, 6, 8,000 people behind the agenda, behind the administration or the cabinet or the whatever it is, they all get away. And they'll all get fancy jobs at Pfizer or BlackRock or wherever they go after they put their work in. And the people are kind of waking up to this, but not really.